Hello everyone, welcome back to another 2v2 battle on a custom map. This is Helms Deep, and me and my ally are the attackers against the Bretonnians and the Wood Elves. Jeez, I couldn't believe it took me that long to remember their names. So for my army here, I decided to take the Sunmaker because it's called Helms Deep, so you know there's going to be choke points, and I can exploit those choke points defenders by using a Sunmaker who's now currently firing at some Blade Guard in the distance. My front line is going to be made up of Halberdiers in case the Wood Elf player brought a bunch of Treekin and Ancient Treemen. I also have 3 Greatswords, 2 Crossbows, Sterling's Revenge, 2 Outriders with grenade launchers, which are going to get into some action here soon, and then 2 Spearmen in the back. I also brought 2 Empire Knights for when we break through the front wall. I wanted them to run around the courtyard. I assume there'd be like a courtyard area, which is what I'm calling this area back here, and I wanted them to run amok is why I brought those. My ally here, we have a front line of 2 Spears, 2 Swords, 2 Halberdiers, 1 Greatsword, Warrior Priest being led by Karl Franz on a Pegasus. We also have 2 Crossbows, 2 Empire Knights, a Reichsguard, a Demigryph Knight, and then 2 Outriders with the guns and a steam tank. The enemy has 2 defensive positions. Right here at the gates, we have Eternal Guard, 4 of them. We have 2 Men-at-Arms, 2 Glade Guard, a Paladin, Damsel, and the Glade Lord. Then over here, we have 2 Field Trebuchet with a Spell Sling of Shadows. We have 2 Peasant Bows, more Men-at-Arms, more Glade Guard, a Wave Stalker, more Eternal Guard. They are being led by the generic Bretonnian Lord, his Paladin, and then we also have Pegasus Knights and a Grail Knight waiting in the forest over there. So this is, as you can see, a 20-minute battle, so this is going to be kind of more of a cinematic thing. I'm not going to do too much commentary, just because I'm supposed to be watching and speaking here and there. So seeing these Glade Guard on the walls, really good target to shred with the Sunmaker. And I'm just going to kind of hit the enemy position with the Sunmaker before we really move in on this one choke point. Because there's only 2 choke points in this map, right there and at the gate. So, you know, defenders may have a slight advantage, but that's why you have to bring something like the Sunmaker to bust them down a little bit. I think the next thing I'm going to be firing at, because as they're going down this little hill, this army is becoming, like, stealthed, basically. They are stalking currently. I can't really see them. I'm going to be flying Boar's Topringer around this area soon to try and start spawning targets, but I think the Sunmaker is going to start hitting this target next. My ally is going to be cautiously marching up the gate over here. In the meantime, and I'm moving my army to a position over here. We can fast forward a little bit. I'm just kind of repositioning my Sunmaker a little bit, and he should be firing soon. There we go. I love the Sunmaker. Shredding that Wood Elf armor. I'm going to take a lot of fire throughout this kind of early part of the combat from a bunch of Glade Guard, but that's okay. Boar's Topringer can regenerate. I also brought the Jade Wizard for healing as well. I don't think I mentioned that. I also have a Jade Wizard. There he is. So the enemy's Eternal Guard are going to withdraw from the front gate, so that's why I had to bring Boris down here to start and spot for my army. And again, we're just kind of currently repositioning. This Spell Slinger of Shadows is actually going to be flying over my army to try and take out my Sunmaker, is what it's currently doing. I'm trying to chase it down with Boris. I was going to start shooting it with Sterling's Revenge, or at least try to, and the crossbows. And she is going to cast that Vortex spell. And I immediately drop the siege engine. I start trying to run my crew away. But I am not quick enough. It catches about half my crew, and then the other half is just going to kind of run back in there because other people are stuck in there. I kept giving them move orders, but they just run right into the Vortex. So I take about half health damage here, but we still do have all 3 siege engines, so we're just going to kind of re-equip them and go back to firing. And we're chasing off the Spell Slinger of Shadows. Meanwhile, over here, my allies sent in some Outriders, and they're just getting destroyed by Glade Guard and Peasant Bows. I don't think they really do too much. The attack on the gate for my ally is going to happen here soon, but all they're going to do is they're going to send 1 unit up at a time, and it's going to get destroyed by archers back here. And that's what's going to happen. I'm not sure why they send 1 at a time. I guess their strategy is if you allow the enemy to use other arrows, they will have no more arrows to fire. So that's kind of the strategy that's going to be happening over there. I have equipped my Sunmaker, and we are starting to fire at this position again. Trying to just shred all this low armor. I got in range of one of their Glade Guard over here. So we're starting to pull back our army a little bit. Meanwhile, over here at the front gate, as I said, they're going to send one unit at a time. I mean, there's really not much you can do, really. You can't send like an entire army up this hill. But these guys are just going to get destroyed. These halberdiers are going to get murdered by the Glade Guard sitting back here. And then I think the swordsmen are going to follow suit. Or, I'm sorry, spearmen. And then they're just going to break en route. But I don't believe any of these units actually make it to the gate. Meanwhile, over here, I'm going to send out a halberdier group to try and take some of the Glade Guard fire away from my crossbows, because my crossbows are now exchanging fire with the peasant bowman, not Glade Guard. But it looks like my unit is actually stalking currently, which is kind of weird, so they can't even see him to shoot at him, so that plan is going to fail. And we're just still opening up with the Sunmaker over here. And you can see, like, all of this damage is from the Sunmaker, except for right here. Those are from our crossbowmen. Sunmaker definitely shreds low armor. It's good at that task. There I am trying to shred more of those Eternal Guard, because I know that they're going to be holding me at that choke point when the fight starts. So I'm trying to lower the numbers. And at this point, we only have, I think, about one more salvo left.
Use a silver mirror. Reflect the spell.
And most of that actually kind of missed. That may be it. Yep, that's it. Our Sunmaker is now out of commission. But oddly enough, though, now these Pegasus Knights are going to fly past my army, and they're going to go after my Sunmaker, I think. Which I was like, okay, that's fine. And here we go. My Mindenheim Halberdiers and Greatswords are going to go into this choke point, and they're backed up on my Outriders with grenade launchers that are just over there that are going to be just pelting this position with some grenades. And also, they're going to get hit by a Vortex Bomb. Meanwhile, at the front gate, my ally is still just kind of slowly sending troops up, and they're getting pelted down to death by archers. Casting some heal spells on the choke point here to try and keep my troops alive for as long as possible. We should have some more grenade. Here we go. Although those are behind my soldiers. What the hell are those grenade launchers shooting at? Over here, I believe I send Boris. Yeah, I think I'm about to send Boris over here to try and shut down some of these Glade Guard. But then he is going to get pounced on. I'm going to have to withdraw him out. I'm not sending my entire melee force into the choke point because there's really no point to. And right now, I'm trying to actually move these Halberdiers through the force. And I'm going to be getting my Empire Knights over here soon because I want the Empire Knights to hit these archers. So over here, you can see I did attack some of these Glade Guard, but then the Lord is going to pounce on Boris, who has already regenerated actually all of his health back already because he took a lot of archer fire throughout this battle as I was using him as a spotter for the Sunmaker. So he's already at half health, which is not great. And I was trying to lure the Lord into the Sterling's Revenge and these crossbows over here, but they're going to pull the Lord out. before we do too much damage. Meanwhile, at the front gate, these soldiers are just kind of standing still and continue to take archer fire. And now they have the Empire, or I'm sorry, the Reichsguard are up there now taking the archer fire. I'm not sure what my ally's doing, and then half the force is sitting over here. They are sending their crossbows and their steam tank over here, though, so they are assisting my fight a little bit. And now here we have the Empire Knights are pushing through the front choke point, and we're going to try and get into these peasant bows. I mean, we're just going to run past the peasant bows is what I meant to say. And finally, the forces at this choke point are going to fall to our overwhelming numbers and all of our grenades that are still going off, and we're going to finally make it into this area of Helms Deep, and that's when the Grail Knights are going to pop out and try and take out our Empire Knights. And this was quite a shock. So we're just going to charge him. We're going to get Boris back in this fight, and I'm going to try and send our halberdiers and great swords to try and shut down these Grail Knights. Also our crossbows and Sterling's Revenge. The Lord is going to pounce back on Boris, and holy like, the Lord did so much damage to Boris so quickly, I was not expecting that much. And they're actually going to be able to kill Boris right here. I'm not able to get him out of the fight, so Boris is going to fall relatively, well, I guess halfway into the battle now. And that's when the halberdiers is going to come over here and start assisting my Empire Knights against the Grail Knights. And you can see this is buying time for all these archers to fall back to this hillside over here and deeper into Helm's Deep. Trebuchets are currently now being shut down by one of my allies' crossbows. Meanwhile, at the front gate, the Reichsguard did finally do a charge with their warrior priest over here, but by the time they actually charged in, they were at so low health that the Eternal Guard at the front gate here were just able to shut them all down. Meanwhile, these forces are still back here, and I don't think they ever move. In the battle, I was doing this constantly. And I was just trying to say, like, hey, how about you just come over here? I have an entry point. We're pushing through. But I don't think that ever happened. So there we go. We did manage to rout the Grail Knights. And now you can see that the enemy's heroes are trying to hold us back and buy more time for their archers. So we're just trying to push through with most of our forces here, including our grenade launchers, who are actually going to get too close to the archers, and the enemy changed their targets. I didn't know if they were microing them or not, so I was testing them, and they definitely were microing them because they changed targets to the outriders, so I'm just going to pull them out because I don't want them to die quite yet. They still have a lot of ammunition. Then meanwhile, back here we just have the great swords and the halberdiers still fighting this paladin and the waystalker. Where's that waystalker? Oh yeah, there you are. And again, like, I'm just trying to get past these guys and force some pressure on the enemy's archer position there. This waystalker, I think, eventually falls. And then meanwhile back here, I honestly don't know what my ally's doing at this point. They sent in half their forces up the hill one at a time just to slowly die. And the steam tank and the crossbows did eventually rout the field trebuchets though. And now you can see these Glade Guard are out of ammunition, so my enemy is going to charge them down into these great swords and halberdiers, basically a suicide mission. And we're going to have some grenade launchers behind for support. Accidentally lowered my screen, but now we're back. Glade Lord are going to pounce on our troops and try and shut down the Sterling's Revenge. Also, we had a damsel spell back here, which is going to do kind of a lot of damage. This ball of lightning really hurts my halberdiers and my greatswords. I was not expecting it. Looked like it did a lot of health. No one ever brings that spell, so I never think to watch out for it. But we did rout those Glade Guards. And now we're just chasing off the Glade Lord. Meanwhile, at the front gate, still nothing happening. Nothing happening. Basically, I'm just kind of the only one in this fight right now, and I'm fighting both the Bretonnians and the Wood Elves. So much is not happening over here that eventually most of this garrison is actually going to be pulled over to this gate instead. And right now, my allies just slowly marching their steam tank up here to start firing at the spearmen. Meanwhile, back here, I'm dealing with the Lord and the Spellsinger with my spears and what remains of my front line. I do still have like a halberdier unit back here protecting our crossbows. But I am losing soldiers. There goes Sterling's Revenge.
We obey. I go. Moving now.
The enemy Pegasus Knights, I did miss this, but they did charge my crossbows and were fought off by, I think, the Demigryph Knight unit. That's right here. Because my enemy, or my ally pulled in my their cab over here, and I think they dealt with the Pegasus Knights that charged my crossbows. Sorry I missed that. Because they took out my Sunmaker and then they charged the crossbows. But it wasn't too exciting. It was a pretty quick fight.
Take position. Sigma guides us. Shoot. Take the ground.
And now the enemy has basically used all of their arrows, so it's mostly just a melee fight from here on out. Although up here you can see my allies, Karl Franz, is going to charge into this position. I'm not entirely sure why, but they're going to get pounced on by the Lord, these Halberdiers and the Spearmen, and they are going to get routed. Karl Franz is going to rout.
No lingering. Get them.
And I'm just being kind of cautious at this point, taking it slow. Because there's really no rush at this point. Like I said, I have no archer fire coming in at me, so I'm like, well, I guess they're finally out of ammunition, so we can just take this slow. So now with this Eternal Guard going up the hill, we are going to make a new line, I think right here. But I'm only going to be using one Greatsword and one Halberdier to kind of be my front line, because I don't want to overcommit most of our forces up here, especially since I'm just throwing in grenade launchers. I don't want my entire army taking grenade launcher fire. And then, meanwhile, at the front gate, the steam tank is still slowly rolling up the hill to try and get some line of sight on this enemy position. They have no arrows left. They have used up all the arrows. You want to know how many kills they got? Hold on. 117 and 87. Still rolling. Still just rolling. And I'm slowly pushing up this side of the hill. You see most of these guys are now in a rout or have broken. We still do have some units back here though, especially the front gate. And here we go. The front gate is now going to move some of its forces over to fight me, because they haven't had to fight my ally really. And I think about right now, we're finally going to get some action from the steam tank. And there's finally going to be some pressure put on this gate. Anytime. And, oh god. It does fire, eventually. And so here we go. I'm just slowly moving up with my Outriders with grenade launchers, just putting some more pressure in on their forces over here. Trying to break everything in this area. Keeping the halberds, or I'm sorry, the spears and the greatswords nearby just for support. And you can see basically a fresh group of men-at-arms coming out. Again, these are pulled from the second gate. Uh-oh, sound issues are starting. So much terrain in here, my camera keeps forcing up. I hate it that we can't just go under the terrain, because like to go in here, I'd have to be above the gate, and that sucks. Here, we can just do this. So those of you who wanted to see some grenade launchers in action, my Outriders get a lot of action in this fight. In fact, I think they're almost out of ammo. Yeah. Now here comes the Lord, and that is basically the last charge of the enemy. Their heroes are going to come out, their lords are going to come out, the Glade Lord, the just generic Lord. We're going to have the Damsel coming out here soon, and then a Paladin, I believe. And they're trying to shut down my grenade launchers and all my ranged units. And you can see I just have units kind of just stacked up, because I was in no rush. Over here, I think there's going to be another ball of... What's that spell called? Is it Chain Lightning? This may be called Chain Lightning. Can't remember. Then checking in on the front gate. Still slowly marching forward and taking a couple shots at an Eternal Guard group. Man, oh man. You may be wondering, was this basically a 1 versus 2? Not totally. They did send their crossbows over to help me. They did shut down these field trebuchets. They did at least distract this garrison force over here. But, I Anyway, the Lord just tore through most of my forces here. You can see they managed to rout a lot of my low unit count forces. I do keep my Jade Wizard nearby for some extra leadership because we did lose Boris pretty early, and we still have more fresh troops coming down the hill. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because at this point, I'm like, what are you doing? How are all these fresh troops still coming? Like, I've been fighting for 20 minutes here. But more fresh troops coming down the hill, so I just still have a couple more grenades ready for them, and we're going to fire into them. Meanwhile, the Bretonian Lord is going to come down here into our crossbow section, and luckily, my ally will respond eventually with their Demigryph Knights, and I think their Empire Knights back here, and they're going to engage the Lord. I'm like, just go. Just please go. Eventually they do. Eventually. And here we're just dealing with some more fresh troops. The Eternal Guard come down the hill. But you can see they're getting torn to pieces pretty quickly by the grenade launcher fire just right into the flanks. And the crossbows firing into them as well. Paladin is leading this excursion out of the Helms Deep. But his troops that he was leading is eventually going to fall. Or get chased off. And leaving just him behind. And at this point I think the Lord is going to finally get... Here we go. The Lord is finally going to get charged by the Demigryph Knights. I've been doing whatever I can to try and stop him with whatever forces I had nearby. And you can see he's terrorized. He's routing a lot of them because they were low unit counts. And he's on a damn griffin, or hippogriff. So, exuded terror. That was a tough fight. But finally, the Demigryph Knights come in here to finish off the Lord. And with that leadership gone, the enemy army is going to rout. And oh my god. What a fight. What a fight. Thank goodness I brought the Sunmaker. Because if I didn't, I don't think I could have won that game. And I say I. Because it was basically me. But still, a good game too. The Trav. Your soldiers got shot up really well. Let's see. For my soldiers here, a lot of kills for the halberds. Great swords did not do that great, but this one actually did pretty well. Crossbows did okay. Empire Knights did okay. Outriders, though, 170 kills, 101 kills. Sunmaker, 218 kills. Really glad I brought these two Outriders, because again, I knew there was going to be choke points. The map is called Helms Deep. I didn't see it before I actually played it, but I knew there was going to be choke points, because of course it is. It's Helms Deep. So I was like, you know what? I mean, grenade launch is probably going to do pretty good. And holy shit, they did really well. For Rebel Soul here, over 100 kills on the Lord is amazing. The Damsel got 81 kills with her spells, which is really great. The enemy men-at-arms troops did not really get many kills because they were destroyed by the Sunmaker for the most part and grenade launchers, but still they held me back for a while. Peasant didn't get to see much action. 40 kills on the Grail Knights is pretty good, and then 60 on the Pegasus Knights is also pretty good. Trebuchets did a decent job as well. Not entirely sure how many kills Kraken got or the Trav. I'm guessing they didn't get many, judging by that battle. But Kraken, the Wood Elf player, I'm sure got a ton of kills against my forces, and obviously against my allies' forces at that front gate. Holy shit. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Battle of Helms Deep, everybody. It was an interesting one. I was happy to see the grenade launchers get used, and used effectively. God, over 100 kills, almost 200 kills on a grenade launcher Outrider unit. Like, that's... I don't know if I've ever even seen that before. It was fun using them again. Anyway, I will see you all next time, everybody. Take care.